You're watching CV English with me, Ambika. Today we are going to have a special session with the man behind exposing big wigs, Advocate Rama Rao. Hello, sir.
Hello, madam.
So, how does the view of the calamity of an outset, which happened in the wee hours of Vizag incident?
Basically, it is quite unfortunate that it so happened. They would have averted it. They would have, if little precaution would have been taken, if what I would say from my personal point of view is we should charge them for an involuntary homicide. So many people have lost their lives. So many people became sick, and we don't know what are the consequences aftermath. We just need to ascertain, the medical experts are ascertaining. It would have been prevented, but it is quite unfortunate it went that way. And when I've seen it in the papers, I was shocked. You know what you'd have seen, they might have been flabbergasted. At that VR, they wouldn't be knowing. They just didn't know as to what is happening. So, and you could see people jumping from top floors and people who were sleeping on top. It's hot and it was sultry. They just jumped off the floor and they died like anything. That's how the tragedy, according to my personal opinion, they would have prevented it from happening, but because of the negligence on part of management, I would say that it was pure negligence on part of the management. They would have waited for some time. See, day before yesterday, some concessions were given. It's not a basic need where immediately you would like to start the production. And you get to see from the record that the majority of the directors for that company are foreign nationals. So if they would have taken little more care, they would have prevented people from dying. It's very unfortunate.
So what is the legal possible implications that which could arrive at the incident which caused the mass mania at Vizag?
No, primarily we will have to see what Indian law says. See, you take Factories Act. It's the authority who is responsible for periodical checkup, because the government was involved in preventive measures and the state was in lockdown. Maybe the authorities with limited number were functioning. I say that it was the primary responsibility of management. The occupier, what we term, legal term is occupier. In terms of Factories Act or in terms of the rules framed under the Act, there are certain rules which are framed. See, those rules are relating to handling, manufacture, storage and import of hazardous chemical rules. The kind of chemical which gave the toxic effect, the kind of gas that is finding place in a schedule which says that those are highly toxic. So you get to see Schedule 1 and Part 2 of these rules. So it says the column number, when we see column number 326 or column number 368, with a reference to styrene and one more chemical which caused this disastrous effect. They are notified to be highly toxic chemicals. There would have been little care while handling. No, they're coming up with so many excuses, saying that it was heat that caused. So many things are erupting. See, I would not blame the government for whatsoever has happened, because it's done at a late hour where even if we get to see the disaster management authority and or disaster response team, see the whole of India is suffering with, is trying to fight the pandemic. At this hour, if in addition to that pandemic, in addition to the kind of situation what we are facing, if something comes up, are we in a position to take it or fight it? That was to be looked into, but unfortunately it was not.
So, from when did this company originate, and who are the board of directors of this company?
See, the company was founded way back in 90s. Originally, it was Hindustan Polymer. Hindustan Polymer didn't do well, so it was amalgamated or took over by United Breweries, that McDowell, very familiar. It's a familiar liquor brand. McDowell took it over, and after that, this is a South Korean company which came and took over, and it has lot many South Korean investments. So presently there are about 6 directors. Among them you get to see here, this is out of 6, 2 are Indians and 4 are South Koreans. Yes. This one Mr. Song, one Mr. Chung, Jeong and Jang. These 4 are holding on to the major share in this company, and it's we can call, to prevent certain things, to avoid certain kind of taxation system, all that. They registered the company here in India. What I term it to be nothing less than a subsidiary of its parent company, which is, in short termed as LG. LG has 2 units. One deals with household stuff, other deals with chemicals. It is by 2017, it was occupying the major share of distributing, of manufacturing and sale of chemicals. So, the chemicals are dealt. They are toxic chemicals, non-toxic chemicals, they are different grades. Each country has its own law, but here in India we have a schedule. So that explains about the kind of toxicity levels and the way to deal with those chemicals. So if they would have waited for little more time, I think this incident wouldn't have taken place.
So what are the legal provisions of the regulations of these toxic substances?
No, you have those, already I spoke about this. The Manufacture, Storage and Import of Hazardous Chemical Rules 1989. You have an entry at column number 368 and column number 326. These are the columns. You have the description about there's so many regulations insofar as these hazardous chemicals. Principally, these 2 chemicals which cause this disastrous effect are termed to be highly toxic, and they are finding place in the schedule. So these rules would specify as to how to deal with those substances. Now we will see 326, entry number 326. This deals with pentane. Now you have this item number 367, styrene. Now these substances are classified as chemicals having acute toxicity. There are 2 levels. One is extremely toxic. This schedule specifies column numbers, serial numbers 1 to 50 as extremely toxic, and second table which consists of substances or chemicals which are highly toxic. So it is quite dangerous to deal with these kind of substances. So the levels had to be maintained. They had, see, after all, it was only one day. See, if I would have been given the authority, I would have said they will have to be charged for an offence under 304 Part 2 of IPC. It is not just an accident. They were playing with people's life. You know, it was the area is largely populous, and even if it would have happened during early hours or after dawn, then some people at least would have escaped. Now you have seen already, there are reports in the media,
yes.
we're reading in the newspapers that some people have jumped off the floor, and maybe some lives would have been saved.
Yes.
At least 11 have died by now. So Factories Act and periodical inspection had to be conducted. Section 9 of Factory Act says that. See, it makes an offence under Factories Act, as well the rules, manufacture, storage and import of hazardous chemicals rules, and moreover all these foreign nationals, including the Indian nationals who are holding on to be the directorship of that company, should be charged for an offence under 304 Part 2, is what I say. It is my personal opinion.
So there seems to be a land issue associated with this. So can you please elaborate the same with us?
No, principally this land of 215 acres belonged to Varaha Narasimha Swami Devalayam of Srikalahasti. Not Srikalahasti, what is that? I'm not able to get that name. So that idol had vast extents of land. Way back in year 67, starting from 64 to 67, the lands were sold against the letter and spirit of Endowments Act. And at least there were several governments functioning. In those governments, at least the new government would have looked into that issue and would have resumed that land back. There's a lot of sentimental value which is attached to that land, but we will not go into those aspects. But with all its possibilities, the government would have tried to resume the land from the hands of some foreign nationals.
So what is the relief you have sought in NHRC?
See, I approached NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, and I asked the Honorable Commission to intervene. So I read in the news that Honorable Commission has already issued notices by taking sumo cognizance of this fact. So what I asked was whether the proper compliances in terms of Epidemic Disease Act or the Factories Act or this manufacture, storage and import of hazardous substances rules and other allied laws, whether such kind of compliances were there or not. I entreated Honorable Commission to appoint a fact-finding body comprising of all the authorities under these acts to find out, to unearth the exact truths, so that the people behind. See, had it been in any other country where an Indian national would have incorporated a company and they would have done this, he would have been he would have been subjected to law. The law there would have been more rigorous. So I wanted to make the world know that Indian law too is rigorous. So I asked the Honorable Commission to appoint a fact-finding body comprising of all these officials, so that the truth and veracity of the allegations which are leveled would come out. And these people could be brought to justice.
Okay, so how was the NHRC involvement in this case?
There's nothing.
How?
Definitely, you see, on the intervention of Honorable NHRC, at times of Bhopal, the continuation, or in several other cases, has set an example. This is nothing but violation of human rights. A person is sleeping at his place, and all of a sudden he is exposed to some kind of toxic substance.
Exactly.
That is nothing but violation of human rights. This can't be permitted. Without any of his volunteering or involvement, he is subjected to some kind of sickness, infirmity or illness due to this toxic substance. So his human rights are violated. Maybe all of them cannot raise a voice. I raise a voice on their behalf. So that is permitted under law.
So what are the measures you can suggest to avoid such incidents in the future?
See, there is a disaster response team, disaster management authority constituted in terms of Disaster Management Act 2005. We need to strengthen. See, what I feel like there is lack of coordination. And disaster management authority should be, see, normally Honorable Prime Minister would be the in charge.
Yes.
And there is a disaster mitigation fund which is created. So, disaster management authority at ground level should be given, clothed with more kind of powers. See, you have lack of staff. If I spoke about Section 9 of Factories Act. Section 9, at ground level, inspector cannot always go. The inspection should be done once in a year. See, if he would have gone for an inspection, if these people would have invited for an inspection, this wouldn't have happened. So what I say is, some among the powers. See, district magistrate would be busy with so many things. He is the chief in charge. So district magistrate during this kind of pandemic situation is not expected to go visit, comply with all the formalities. Non-compliance of formalities from end of government doesn't mean that you do whatever you want. You have claimed lives of so many people.
Yes.
So disaster management authority, disaster response teams should be clothed with more powers so that they can be delegated with some functions of the revenue authorities or whichever authority having jurisdiction or authority over these kind of issues, so that it can be prevented in future.
So in this case, like we see earlier in Bhopal, we saw many people have lost their lives in this mishap, in the same mishap. And in Vizag, now we see, earlier it was 8 people dead, and now we see 11 people.
Now we see 11.
So it's very sad that we're hearing many innocent people are losing their lives in this mishap. So what could you do there?
See, that's what I said. It's a gross violation of human rights. Now, if the government is not awakening, as a matter of fact, it is every citizen's responsibility to awaken himself and look into what is happening. No, see, from end of citizens, they need to be vigilant.
Yes.
They need to be vigilant, and they need to raise a voice.
Exactly.
Had anybody would have raised a voice that the situation is perilous, they would have they would have brought it to the notice of government. They would have brought it to the notice of judiciary. At least to a certain extent, this could have been prevented. So I ask the citizens to be vigilant about their rights and vigilant about their neighbors' rights or any other citizen's rights, so that these kind of disasters could be prevented.
So what kind of justice could be given to the people who are still hospitalized and the treatment is underway? So,
see, it's in the process of investigation. Several authorities are working on it.
okay.
And so far as I am concerned, I have raised voice against so many victims, on behalf of so many victims. I have raised voice against the kind of atrocious implications and the kind of monstrous impact. And once their health status is known to respective government of Andhra Pradesh, surely, hopefully, see, it could only be compensated monetarily. It's so unfortunate that it could only be compensated monetarily. There is no measure, see, there is no exchange for the kind of pain which they are undergoing. So, except for prevention, nothing under the sky could compensate them.
Okay. Well, this is all for now, sir. So, thank you so much for your valuable time. Well, until the next session, stay tuned to Serial English. This is Ambika signing off.